Hello, everyone. You are listening to Oops Spoilers. I am one of the hosts. There'll be more hosts eventually, but I am one of the hosts, Mallory. And in this podcast, we talk about movies, TV shows, and books, and we review them. And this is also a Those Are the Rose Media production. And this episode of Oops Spoilers is brought to you by Living in the Light Co. I'm wearing one of their t-shirts that says Salt and Light. Super cute. Feels great. Comfy. She was on the Those Other Girls podcast. You guys should check out the episode. Cannot remember the creator. Is she who I'm referring to? Cannot remember the number, but I should know that. I'll have that memorized one day. But to hear more about the brand and everything, you should listen to that. But it's really a great business. They create everything. And they are very big on being Christian conservatives, not caving to cancel culture, and all that jazz. So if you use the code THOSEGIRLS, you can get 10% off of your purchase. And the website is www.litlco.com. Okay, I have a movie that you guys picked. You guys picked this movie for me to watch first and review. So it is Purple Hearts. This is like my third time trying to record this. It's been really weird and funky, and this is coming out like on like a day after I try to get these out. Oops, sorry about that. But I will try to continue to be consistent. At least, no matter what, there's gonna be one a week, unless it's like a crazy week or if I'm in the hospital. I probably won't record from the hospital. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll probably record Those Other Girls if I'm in the hospital because what great content. Just joking. I'm sipping from my Saturdays Are for Weekly teacup mug and a 7 Weeks coffee. So, this podcast is going to be full of spoilers. What I'm going to do is just talk about it. Eventually, I'm going to have a rubric for you guys. So, when I get the TOG score, so you can really fully encompass it. But I'm going to talk about the plot, the drama, the clothes, all that other stuff. Like, I want to talk about every aspect of these movies and TV shows, my thoughts and opinions. So first, I'm going to read you guys a plot summary. So once again, this movie is called Purple Hearts, and it's on Netflix, and you guys picked it. Okay, so here is the summary. In spite of their many differences, Cassie, I think is how they say it, Cassie, a struggling singer-songwriter, and Luke, a troubled Marine, agree to marry solely for military benefits. But when tragedy strikes, the line between real and pretend begins to blur. Cassie Salazar and Luke Morrow couldn't be more different. Sharp-witted Cassie works nights at a bar in Oceanside, California to make ends meet while pursuing her dream of becoming a singer-songwriter. Luke is a Marine trainee about to ship out for duty, who finds comfort in the unswerving discipline of service. But a chance encounter at Cassie's bar changes the course of both their lives. Cassie is running the medical bills after being diagnosed with diabetes. Okay, that's like such a weird way to end the description, but that is an aspect of the movie. That's such a weird way to end it. Anyway, here we go. Oops, spoilers. Okay, so this stars the girl. You guys might know her from the first reboot and second spinoff of Pretty Little Liars. And her name is Sophia Carson. She's also in the Descendants movies. I'm trying to think of anything else notable she's been in. She low-key, high-key looks like Selena Gomez. And she has such an interesting voice. She's our age. I'm saying our. She's 29. I'm 27. And I'm saying our like everybody here is in that age range. But I'm saying that she's not like a kid like a lot of these other people. She's a lot older, in my opinion. And then the male lead his name is Luke Galenzine. And I don't know if you guys saw, but he was the prince from the awful Cinderella movie that they had on Amazon. So yeah, they both have interesting acting backgrounds. And I will say, I think they both were decent actors and actresses. I will also say, like, I'm really not a big fan of romance movies, not in this season of life. So I was kind of going back and forth. I was like, oh, you know, I really want to watch it. And I'll admit, I teared up a little bit at the end. And I'll talk about that later. But yeah. So it stars these two lovebirds, but that were not originally lovebirds. So it starts off, she sings, well, from the jump, I was pretty much sold, I will say, into like, okay, this will be interesting, because she sings this like different version of Sweet Caroline that I actually kind of like. Her singing voice is very unique. Let me see if I can pull something up on Spotify really quick. I don't know if like I'll get in trouble, because I know that I got in trouble for, well, not in trouble, but you know how they are, that copyright stuff. I think I can just maybe like, okay, like, I want you guys to just hear. Okay, so it starts off, that's like the opening song, and I'm like, okay, let me see. Like, I don't know how, I don't think, I can't sit up there and say, she's no Olivia Rodrigo, let's be real. But at the same time, like, I kind of like that. Look, it's a unique voice. And like, maybe it's nasally? I didn't hear someone else like describe what I'm trying to say. Like, I think she's like nasally, whatever it is. I kind of actually like it, but I really like that. I don't know, I really like that version. And it opens up with that. So I'm like, okay, let me see what this is about. I also feel like this feels like it's still, so you guys remember that era where no matter what anybody from Disney Channel did, they had to also want to be a singer. Like, everybody wanted to be a singer. And that's kind of how it felt a little bit. Hopefully we're going to get out of that, because it's like, okay, not everybody wants to be a singer. Not everybody can be a singer. Like, what other hobbies or interests do people have? But yeah, so that's how it starts off. And then she has like, she has diabetes, which is a key point, in this movie. She has diabetes and her insulin is low or something like that. And she has to go to the car and like, do her diabetes shots. And she's almost out of insulin. So that's a big thing. So that happens. And, you know, and I thought it was interesting how they introduced the diabetes thing. Because, like, if you didn't have diabetes and you just saw her, you probably would have thought she was a drug addict. Because, like, they didn't really explain that she was taking needles out to give herself the shot. Eventually you see it, but, like, I don't think, and I think, unless you know someone with diabetes, you might not really fully understand that. Because, like, until I had a friend that had diabetes, I didn't know that you had to do the shots thing, or at least that they look like real syringes. I don't know what I thought, but it wasn't that. But, you know, I mean, I guess by your 20s, you at least know one person with diabetes. Anyway, so she does it in the car. She goes back, and a group of Marines come in, and one of the Marines is a guy named Frankie that she used to babysit. So she gives him a hug and everything, and then all the other guys are there, and I don't want to make judgments. It was very stereotypical. And I lived in Virginia Beach. So I've been around guys that were in the military, that were in the Navy. And I'll just say that don't judge books by their cover. But if you want to stereotype, it was a pretty decent stereotype. I'll just put it at that. So, you know, they're all drinking and they're having make little snippets about her, about wanting to be with her. And, nowadays in movies and stuff, which isn't a bad thing, she's like, no, this is my body. You're not going to touch my body without my permission. Her friend is a lesbian and explaining to them that she isn't interested in men. And then one of the guys makes a comment like, oh, I can change your mind if you let me, if you marry me, you'll get health. Da, 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 da. So, ew, trash. So all these guys are like that, except one of them only asks for water. And he seems to be kind of not like that. Seems to be a really, really nice guy. Let me tell you, I think he's cute. I think his name is Luke, the main character, the male lead. Name is Luke. Attractive. 10 out of 10. I'll give it to him. I wouldn't say, actually, he's not a 10 out of 10. I'd say his behavior at that moment, he asked for water, he was respectful to her. I'll say that was a 10 out of 10. So that happens, and then they have that little kind of, he hits on her, she says, shuts him down real quick, a little tizzy, ugh. And he even makes a comment like, oh, because like the idea is like he's pretty conservative and she's a leftist. And he makes the comment saying like, you probably have a Lexus and your mommy and daddy pay for, something like that. Which I will say, like, I think that's like a terrible stereotype for people on the left. Because to be honest, and this is going to be very controversial, a lot of people I know with a lot of money are on the right. I always wondered that. Like, there's a couple of people, I will say there are a couple of people who are on the left that I do know that have money, but most of the people I know that have a lot of money are on the right. That their mommy and daddy did give them something. But anyway, so that was like the joke, and I thought that was funny. And then, okay, so from there, we see their different lives. So Luke, we find out, was a drug addict, and he owes his drug dealer money. Like lots, like $15,000. And we also see Cassie, her mom tries to help pay for her insulin. That was the other thing too. I'm sorry, I forgot this part. She went to go get more insulin, but she didn't have the money. And she's almost out and she really needs insulin. Like they put that in, like, and also too, that made you realize, okay, she needs insulin that bad. She can't get insulin. There is going to be a moment in the movie where she will not have insulin, and we're going to have to see how it plays out. So we see that aspect of her. She really needs this money. So she gets to thinking, okay, you know what? What can I do? So she goes to she used to babysit, goes to his house and asks if she can marry him for his military benefits. And Luke comes out and he's like, you can't do that. That's so wrong. Like, you can go to jail. You can be in so much trouble. Blah, blah, blah. You'll get in so much trouble. Don't do it. Don't do it. And the guy's like, well, I'm so sorry. Like, my girlfriend would not, like, she would be upset, like, if I did that. So she's like, oh my goodness, you got a girlfriend? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, sorry about that. Okay. So then she goes her own way. Then that's when we find out Luke homeboy owes the drug dealer $15,000. He thinks because once you get married, you get more money so he can pay back the guy. He also goes to tell to ask his brother for money. His brother says, no, I'm not going to give it to you. And we see that he avoids his father. So we see there's a little bit of rift in his relationship with his father. And we'll find out why a little bit later. Okay, so Luke reaches out to Cassie and Luke get together. They decide, you know what, let's do this. They do not get along right away. Like, it is definitely from enemies. It's definitely an enemies to lovers movie. So obviously, so they're just, kind of, and she's very independent. Like, this is not, On her balcony, she has a pride flag as well as a BLM flag. Once she marries Luke, she puts an American flag up there because she's now a military wife. So they end up getting married, and the only people who know that it's for the money is the drug dealer, Luke, Frankie. Remember, Frankie is Luke's roommate and friend, but Cassie used to babysit him, and Cassie. Those are only for people who know that it is for the money, so that they'll live together. She can get insurance and get better insulin and things like that, and he will get paid more to be able to pay back the drug dealer to get it completely finished. So they go, and it's so sweet. They need rings at the wedding, and Frankie had already gotten his girlfriend a ring. He was going to propose to her. Then he decided he didn't want to propose to her before he left. So he gives that ring to them to use for their wedding, which was like, okay, that's so sweet. Like, Frankie, such a great character, super sweet, kind. So they go get married, and then they go out to dinner, and it's one of the military Marine guys is so rude. He's gross. He makes all these comments. And then Cassie is just like, she's had enough. She stands up to him, and then Luke tells her to sit down, which, she does not like. Because remember, this homegirl is strong, independent. She's not used to having a man. And he makes a comment like that. I don't remember when exactly in the movie he says that, but he says something like, you've got to let someone help you. Not all men are going to hurt you. Which, to me, that was just like, oof. Because, like, if you take that aspect of it, I think it's something that, as women, we do need to work on, because there are bad men. I mean, can't say that there aren't. We can't act like there's not. There is tons of good guys out there, and blah, blah, blah. We can't act like that either. The reality is there are more bad men than good men. That's just fact of the matter. And I think that, but that's such a good point. We cannot treat every man like he's a bad man, because we really don't know until we get to know them and X, Y, and Z. So I thought that was really good. That was like, I don't remember when exactly they put that line in, but I think that, to me, that was just something that was like, okay, that's a good point. He made a good point. So then they have to go. So, like, the night before, you, like, sleep at a hotel to drop the person off or something like that. I've never did anyone, like, in the Marines, Army, or whatever, so I don't know that whole aspect. But they sleep over at this hotel, and they're supposed to ask for 2 beds, but they actually only had 1 bed. Okay. So, you know what happens. They're both 2 attractive people that are together, so they have sex. I fast forwarded, and I don't think I missed anything important while they were doing that, because, sometimes they'll, like, put in some sort of dialogue that you're like, oh, dang, I'm going to miss something, but I didn't feel like I missed anything fast forwarding through it. So I fast forwarded through the sex scene, and then they wake up the next morning, and surprise, surprise, he's, like, getting up and like, hey, this is just a transaction. What do you want from me? And she's like, oh my gosh, so offended. But it's like, girl, this whole thing has been shady from the beginning, even though it's obvious at the very least, they're sexually attracted to each other. Okay. So moving forward, okay, so this is also key and important. He gives her, so they're saying goodbye, and he gives her a sheet of paper that has his brother's name and number on it, and asks her to call his brother and let his brother know, like, what's going on, that he's shipping out and that they're married. So she's like, okay, I'll do that. And then they kiss goodbye, and then the guys, being silly, pick her up and be like, oh, newlyweds, kiss, kiss, kiss. So they kiss again, and they, like, if you're really watching, you can tell, like, they do not really like each other like that. Like, they don't really have chemistry. And it's so obvious because they met, like, a week ago. But, I mean, I guess you just don't tell people. Quick story, I have a friend whose brother is in the Navy, and he said that there'll be men that have, like, full-blown families in different countries. Like, they'll visit, they'll have to work in, like, the Philippines or something. They'll have a wife and kids in the Philippines, and then they'll have their American wife and kids. So, like, bro code, I guess you just don't tell stuff like that. But it's, like, blatantly obvious. So, but the girlfriend, to sweet Frankie, she's, like, scared and, like, oh, like, I'm scared I'm not going to see him again. But I think she's like, I'm happy he's doing it. He's setting up, blah, 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 blah. So, and, Cassie's like, yeah, I'm scared too. And she doesn't really care about him because, like, she just met and they butted heads. And then remember, he like slept with her and did not care about her the next morning. Okay, so we see a montage of what's going on. Cassie's able to get a really good insulin thing, and you know she has all of her stuff, and then she ends up writing this song, a really nice song about the military, hoping that everybody comes home. And the song like gets really, she sings it for the people at that bar that she works. Oh, so she works at a bar, and then she and her band sing there. I'm guessing for free, but it gets really popular and people like it, and you know, everything's going pretty okay, I guess. I can't think of anything else like really pertinent that happens in that section. Well, so they're getting to know each other, and it's actually really cute. Like, you can tell they're like, okay, I don't dislike this person, and they're like kind of writing each other letters, FaceTiming, you know, playing the part, but also getting to know each other. So, okay, that's cute. So then she calls them, they don't answer, and then she gets a call because he is in an accident and his like leg blows up or something like that. And it's like, okay, so this part, I'm gonna try not to cry because this part to me, like when I was watching it, I was like doing one of those like, and my brother, he literally comes in every time that I'm watching a movie about to cry, and he's like, whoa, what is going on here? So they suffer an IED or something, and they call, so she has to rush to the hospital. But because it's something so major, she wants to call the brother because that's his family. So she's trying to find the paper, so she just Googles his brother's name. Well, his dad has the same name as his brother. So she ends up at his dad's house, and his dad was not supposed to know. She ends up telling his dad what happened, and that she is his wife. So that's just like so terrible. So then the guy finally comes in from Afghanistan, because he was in Afghanistan. He finally comes in from Afghanistan and is laying on the stretcher. And then Cassie, his dad, his brother, and his sister-in-law walk into the hospital and everything. So they're talking about everything. So this is the part that's really sad. But like Frankie ends up dying. So she makes a comment about like something like, oh, Frankie's like something like that. And he's like, you don't know? And then she's like, don't know what? And that's when I knew, like, I love movies. These things move me like no other. And like, I automatically started tearing up. I knew, like, and he was such a good guy, which is why they probably, like, movies were long, probably had to kill him. But it was so sad. And I was like crying, and my brother was like, was this character that good? And I was like, well, I mean, he wasn't in the whole movie, but it was just really, it was sad that he died. They had the funeral, and then the little girlfriend's probably like, I don't know, she's probably like 20. She was so sad, and like, Cassie ended up giving the ring that he let them use for their wedding. She ended up giving it to the girl because he got it for the girl originally, which I thought was really sweet. But yeah, that part was really sad. I don't know. He was a really well-written character. And I didn't expect him to die. I didn't expect him to die. Okay. So, you know, and so then they have to work on living together because now that the dad knows, they're going to have to work a little bit longer on living together and like, pretending to be, married, because the dad is like a narc. Apparently the dad would even snitch on his own kid. If he knew that he was doing it, had a fake marriage. So, you know, she's frustrated because she's like, I wasn't planning on this. And now also too, while this is happening, she's becoming a superstar. I mean, she's getting lots of recognition. People are coming, and like she even getting a manager. So like her music career is like moving up. Like all of her dreams are starting to come true. And she has this insulin that's helping her, you know. So yeah. So then they end up living together, and you know, obviously at first it's like butting heads, like they don't like it, like a stereotypical remember enemies to lovers movie. But then they eventually start to like warm up to each other. They're starting to be a little bit, yeah, I don't know how people be. And then, okay, so then they start doing that. And then they eventually start to become friends again, or friendly again. And she ends up getting him a dog. He ends up, so he's also in a wheelchair, and he says something like, for the dog scene, she was like, we got you a dog because I read somewhere, as in Cassie and his brother. It's like, I read somewhere that your people in your condition would benefit from a dog. And he goes, you mean like a cripple? And as soon as he said, I said, verbally, audibly, I said, nobody says cripple anymore. And then she goes, nobody says cripple anymore. I was like, yeah, that nobody uses the word cripple. Anyway, they get him a dog, which was sweet. And, obviously him and the dog get along really well. So this and that, she's being successful. They start to really like each other again. Well, he stopped making the payments to the drug dealer. Because remember, you guys, he also paid a $15,000 debt to the drug dealer. He stopped making payments to the drug dealer. The drug dealer is threatening him. The drug dealer then goes and breaks into Cassie's mom's home. And Cassie does not play with her mom. She says that's her everything eventually in the movie. Like, she and her mom are very close. And so, we don't know it's a drug dealer. I thought it was a drug dealer as soon as it happened. Because I'm like, that's too much of a coincidence. But then when he's in the house searching, so, he's the man. So he goes in there. I don't know why I'm saying that. That's what a man should do. And that's what I would want my man to do. But as a man, he goes in and he's searching and he's looking around. And then he gets a call on his phone. And the drug dealer's like, makes a comment like, oh, your mother-in-law, blah, blah, blah. So he knows that it's his mother-in-law. So, Cassie's like very frustrated and scared and everything. And then she comes home really late. And she is like tired and like she is very low and she hadn't eaten all day. And when you have diabetes, you have to make sure you're on top of your blood sugar. You have to eat and things like that. So she needs one of her little packets, and he like comes and saves her. And it's actually like a very sweet moment where you can tell like he saved her. Like, he cared about her. He loved her and wanted to save her. So he does that. And then the next day, he finds a drug dealer, hits him, knocks him over, throws him the money, and says, don't you ever come near my wife and her mother again. Very manly stuff. Don't ever come near my wife and mother again. Bang, bang, boom. Takes the drug dealer's gun, does the whole breaking thing, throws it all away, and then walks off. So he's like, okay, I did it. I can now, he's paid off the debt. He's fallen in love with Cassie, protected her and her mother. He's like, I done did it. I got it. Love it. Cassie comes home, and Cassie's like, my mother ran into someone who told her that you owe this debt, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, get out. Like, you need to leave. You need to leave. And it's this whole thing, and like, it's just a big hubbub and everything. And he's like, I've helped you. Like, you let me in, and I have been there for you, and all, I've been there for you. She's like, oh, but you did all this other stuff. So they're arguing and arguing. And she's like, get out, get the heck out of here, something like that. So she's upset because her mother could have died. Like, they could have hurt her mother legitimately. So I understand why she's upset. At the same time, he did protect her, but it was his fault that she and her mother were in that position. So I understand both sides. And also, too, like, I think it also goes to your past. You have to put your past behind you, and then people in your life have to be able to accept the you they see now without holding on to the baggage of your past. I think that's another thing that the movie like kind of touches on, like a theme is like, this is your past, you need to move forward. And are people going to accept you for your moving forward, for who you are now and who you're going to be in the future, not in the past? So then the guy, y'all, the movie's almost over, it's wrapping up. The guy calls the Marines and tells the Marines that it's a fake marriage. So Cassie and Luke get subpoenaed. At the same time, Cassie is like moving on up. She gets the opportunity to open up for Florence and the Machine. And if you guys remember Florence and the Machine, they were big. I don't even know if they still make music now. I guess they're still, I don't know. But, I mean, we all know the name. We've heard the name before, Florence and the Machine. So that's all happening, and she, like, her career is going great. But, all this is falling apart. And, her heart is, like, hurt because you could tell she was falling in love with him. So this part, I think, is so sweet. And this, to me, shows, like, love. And, like, almost to the second time I cried in the movie. But, like, this time it wasn't just because of, like, it was a sad part. Just because of, like, love. Okay, so they go to so he gets subpoenaed. Because, when you're in the Marines, Army, all of that stuff, you have a very different court system. And so they go there and they go to this, he's at the system and he takes full responsibility. He says that Cassie did not know the risk. She did not know anything about it. Like, he takes complete and total responsibility, which means it doesn't have to go to civilian court for her because she's a civilian. So she's completely absolved, and he has to, I think it's like 6 months in jail or something, like, or 6 months in like their type of jail, something like that. Y'all, it was very sweet. So then that happens, and she's like, okay. So then she gets to the concert, and she's thinking, and she sings, I believe she sings the song about how she hates him but loves him or something like that. And on this, opens up with Florence and the Machine, and when it's over, she has all these screaming fans. She gets in her car, her ugly beat up car, and drives to where he is. We see the montage of his family driving him, dropping him off to the jail or whatever it's called where the Marines go. And then he's saying goodbye, and then you see her car, and then you see her run up, and like that part just like got me. Like, love is so. I hope everyone experiences love. I hope everyone gets that chance to meet someone that makes them feel loved, wanted, secure, guy and girl listening. I hope you meet your respective counterparts. It was just really sweet. It was a really sweet moment. And it ends with them finally being together in a real marriage. And they're happy. She's successful. He's successful, I guess. I don't remember what he was doing. I don't think he did anything. I think he ended up being like a stay-at-home person. But she's a rock star, like she wanted to be. And she's with her love, the guy she loves. Okay, so the music I thought was pretty good. It was pretty good. Like I let you guys hear, she has a very different, like, nasally voice. But let me see if I can pull something up really quick. Another song. This is the song. Yeah, so like it's that type of music, and I don't mind it. I liked it. I thought the acting was real. I honestly did not mind the acting. I'm sure I try not to watch a review of a movie before I do my own review, so I can have my own opinions. I try. I've been doing really good so far. So like I really didn't mind the acting. I thought the plot was very interesting. It's just like I hesitate giving it a 4 because I feel like 4s and 5s are just like out of the park. But I don't know if this was out. It was just good. Like, and you know what? It was good. So I'm gonna give it a 3. It wasn't great and it wasn't excellent. It was good. It was a good movie. I would recommend it. I would recommend it if you're just looking for something fun. Just you and the girlies, like a girls' night. I think it'll be cute. Be prepared to cry at least twice. Fast forward through that one sex scene if you want. You should. And yeah, like I thought it was good. It was a different movie. It was enemies to lovers plot that's played out, but like an interesting twist. Because I think reality is like, I'm sure things like that happen. There's a law that you can't do that, because that's the thing. It's against the law to marry someone for the military business. I'm sure it happens all the time. And I'm sure it's happened in this way where they end up falling in love. I'm sure in a couple weeks or something, maybe somebody will be like, actually, this story is similar to me and my husband's, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, so that's my TLG score. I'm giving it a 3. It was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't excellent, but it was good. And yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you next week.